Good afternoon, Coolest Coast. It is time for Coffee on the Coast Book Banter. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Coffee on the Coast. I'm your host this afternoon, Tina Prigge. Thank you to CA for News for sponsoring this Coolest Coast broadcast, and welcome back to our guest, Therese Horstketter, librarian with the Manitowoc Public Library. That means it's time for Book Banter.
Yay!
Hi, Therese. So nice to see you.
Hi, good to see you too.
How's it going with the summer reading program? Have you been reading a ton?
Well, not as much as I'd like, but it's good that everybody's reading.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is. It's fun. What I love about the summer reading program is my son is also doing it. And so he'll be like, Mom, did you read today? Mom, did you? And so I love that. I love that like connection about reading.
Yeah.
So you're here because you've got some new fun recommendations for us. So I'm going to start with, I found this little blurb about one of the books, and it says, a haunting Southern Gothic from an award-winning master of suspense. A House with Good Bones explores the dark, twisted roots lurking just beneath the veneer of a perfect home and family. Mom seems off. So let's talk about this book, A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher.
Yeah, I don't remember where I really heard about this one, but I had it on hold, and it was one of the last ones that I just finished now, and I really enjoyed it. And I have to say, like, probably at least one of the others, it started out, then it kind of slowed down a little bit. And I thought, oh, I hope this is gonna, but then it picked up again. And so it really is about a brother, like it said, mom seems off. Brother calls his sister and says, something doesn't seem quite right back at home. And two adult children that live out of the house. And so she is there with her. She goes to visit her mother, is living with her for a while. And she just notices some really different things. Her mom seems kind of scattered. And the house has changed. Like, her mother always loved color. Everything is painted like beige. And there's some really old pictures hanging up that she never saw before and didn't even know if these people were related or, it was just kind of an odd feeling that she had. And she's trying to, test her mom a little bit, see why these things are going on. And, well, it starts going into how her grandmother, she has these thoughts as it's being narrated, how her grandmother was like super mean to her and was not nice to her mother all the time either. And just some different family things. So the vulture on the cover has quite a bit to do with it. And the woman who is the main character, gone to visit mom, actually she studies insects. So she has a great knowledge of how things behave in that way and just a lot of knowledge about them in general. So that adds somewhat to what's going on in this story. And it's a unique story. And so to say more would take a little bit away. So I wouldn't say too much more about it.
So it sounds like she's
And
got to unravel this mystery. Is it a mystery essentially?
It is somewhat a mystery, and it is somewhat delving into the history of their family and some other people who are not living any longer that kind of play a part in this story as it goes.
Okay, so I haven't read it yet, so I'm just spitballing
Yeah.
here, but it says A House with Good Bones, and then on the cover it says Southern Hospitality to Die For.
Yep.
So is that kind of some foreshadowing that?
Yeah, there's there's enough bit of creepy, scary, a little delving into supernatural almost, I guess is the way I would have to describe it. But yeah, it was a good book.
So you mentioned, it starts out kind of good, then it kind of slows down.
Yep.
What's how do you usually deal with a book like that? Like, is there a point that you're like, nope, I'm done? and don't continue if you hit a spot
I
like
I must say I have done that with some books. It's like even if I've already, dedicated that much time to it, it's still like, oh, I'll give it a few more. But this one, they had to change the pace kind of for what she had to look into. So it doesn't stay just with the people right there, but um,
that.
looking into
Oh,
the history of her family. So
gotcha.
that was where it changed pace somewhat, but then picked up again.
So it's worth working
It
through.
is.
Play
It
it
is.
through, keep going. Okay.
Yep.
So what about T. Kingfisher? Is this a known author, or is this a first release for this
I
person?
I know I've heard of the author before, and there are other books, but not that I've read.
Okay.
And actually, I must say the author blurb um, says she writes fantasy, horror, and occasional oddities. So yes,
So which one does this fit under?
and if you do get the book, there's a little kind of note at what's happening in the book too under the author's information.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, I found that very interesting. So just a thing to make note of if you pick it up.
I have to say the cover art on this book is great, and
Hmm.
I love the cover art on all of the selections that you brought to us this month.
Yeah, there are a
Um,
lot of different ones.
so let's see what's next. So this one says, listeners will be captivated as the narrator create tension and drop hints about the real problem in this ideal family. Get ready for a thrilling, addictive novel about marriage, betrayal, and the secrets that push us to the edge in Sally Hepworth's The Soulmate. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
tell us about The Soulmate.
This was actually two of them that I have listed for today. I read years ago, but they were old things that I really liked. And this one, though, was my favorite of the current ones that I just read. And this is about a couple who buys a house out. It's a coastal town, and it has a cliff behind the house. And little concern on her part when they first moved there that, we have a little girl and what's going to happen there. That's kind of unsafe. But anyway, they deal with it. Her husband's very, we'll have a fence, we'll keep her safe, we'll be good. Well, it's a known suicide spot. And so when they see someone there, her husband has gone out to talk people down. And even though the police say it's not a good idea and you have to be really careful, don't get near anybody, we can't stop you from doing this. And he's actually talked several people away.
Oh.
So while he's talking, his wife calls the police and they still come out. And then there's the night that it doesn't go that way. And there ends up to be a lot of um, a lot of tie-ins with the person that does not walk
Oh.
away.
Oh.
And so a lot of complications from there. And the book I loved it because grabs you right away. And the blurb for this tells you all of this. I'm not trying to, take anything away from it, but grabs you and it keeps going and it has short, good chapters. And the book just moves. So very good. Really,
So
really good book.
you read this book and then you sent me a message, and I could feel the excitement in the text, right? About how
Yeah.
much you love this.
Yeah.
So I immediately went onto the Libby app, found it, put a hold on it. I'm still like 159th in
Oh.
line. So a lot of other people must share.
And
your
I have
enthusiasm.
been recommending it to so many people along the way that,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just loved it. I thought it was really good.
Nice. So Sally Hepworth, this is a known author.
Yes. And I don't think that I recognize titles that she's written, but not that I have read a lot of hers. If there might have been one that I read a while back, but nothing that I can't say that I always pick up her books.
Mm,
This may have been a first for me with her, but really a good book.
okay, awesome. And so now
Yep.
your description really helps then explain this cover image, right? With the cliff. I get it
Mm,
now.
yeah.
All right. And I should say it says on the cover, what happens when love pushes you to the edge?
Yep. And
Okay.
it's one of those with a lot of little twists and but and not right in your face right away, that you're kind of figuring it out as you go too. So
Nice.
really good.
Well, I love that you described that it grabs you right away and then it doesn't disappoint.
Yep.
Awesome. I can't wait to read it. It might be a year before it comes up on my hold list, but
Hopefully
So-
it's worth the wait.
viewers, if you have read this book or if you've heard about this book, let us know your thoughts. Okay. Lee Child. I've heard you cannot go wrong with a Lee Child.
Oh, lovely child. The Jack Reacher series is one of my favorites. And this is one from 2006, actually. I look back in my list of books, my little tablet I keep, and look for the things that I have marked a 10 by. And of his, they don't all get that. They get good marks. But this one had a 10, and the title stuck with me, too. And it is where he is supposed to go out and find someone who's been kidnapped, the wife of someone else that's in the service, since Jack Reacher used to be in the service, and now just travels around, ends up in different situations. But this one, I guess that's what I had mostly noted, is that he is asked to go and find the wife of someone who's been kidnapped. But then I think in doing so, he finds out a lot about the man who asked him for the help. And so there's always not just a straightforward, simple story. And yeah, this
Okay.
is just one of those that if you haven't read this one, being a Jack Reacher fan, it's one I would recommend.
If a person is new to Jack Reacher, for example, can they start with this, or do you have to read them in order? Are they contingent
They're-
on one another?
I think just about anything like this where they do have a lot, you don't have to, but I think sometimes you find different things out about the characters that make you feel a little bit more, not even closer to the character, but that you really just have a little bit more of an understanding of them a lot of times.
Gotcha. So standalone is fine, but if you do read the
Mhm.
others, you'll have more in-depth
Yep.
insight. Okay. So I want to know more about your rating system. What goes
Oh.
into a 10? What makes a book a 10?
Well, a 10 is, I just loved it. It gets a 10, and whatever genre it happens to be. And yeah, there's favorite authors that don't get 10s all the time.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not every work can be a home run, right?
Nope.
Okay. So have you ever marked a 10 and then reread the book at a future point and thought, it's actually only an 8, or
Well, I would say probably anything. If you're going back and maybe not even reading it, but talking to someone, or then you read something else and you think, oh, that was a lot like that. This was better, that kind of thing. But yeah, generally I haven't really gone in and changed anything.
nice.
There's enough of them. And like I said, with this being from 2006, long way to go back. And
Yeah. Do you think where you are in your life, like the stage of life or the kind of day that you're having, impacts how
sure.
you perceive a book?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. And I will tell you my biggest example, Gone Girl, which was so popular, I had to take that book home 4 times before I read it. And then I really liked it. But I tried starting it. I did not like the beginning of the book. It was putting me off every time. And then finally I got through. I don't remember that I gave it a 10, but I'm sure I gave it a decent number.
So you tried the book 4 times. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I would have the commitment to do that. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and I should say I brought it home 4 times. I know I tried it once, and I'm trying to think if the other 2 times in between there, I actually gave it much of a try. It may have just come back without ever opening it. Like, nope, I didn't like it last time. I'm just not, there's other books to read. But so many people kept talking about it, which is not my only basis, but I thought, I'm missing something here. And then when I finally sat down, I got a little bit further into it. Then I liked it and
Okay.
kept going. Yep.
So I haven't even tried that one yet, but I
Mm.
did recently listen to another kind of like a short story by the same author.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the name, but it was great. It was
Yeah.
interesting and an enjoyable read. So that makes me
Nice.
think too, I should give Gone Girl a try. Okay, moving on. Let's see. A brilliantly crafted, stunning debut. The Memory Keeper's Daughter explores the way life takes unexpected turns and how the mysterious ties that hold a family together help us survive the heartache that occurs when long buried secrets burst into the open. Okay, wow, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards.
The Memory Keeper's Daughter is a heartbreaking but beautiful, amazing book. It is a doctor delivering his wife's twins during a blizzard. And his nurse is with him, and a boy is born, perfectly healthy. And then their daughter is born, and he can see looking at her that she has Down syndrome. And he believes it will be heartbreaking for his wife. And he gives her to his nurse and says, take her to a facility. And that his wife is never is to believe that she passed. And instead, the nurse keeps her and raises her. And it is amazing in that these two families are out there not knowing each other, and just it's a heartbreaking book, like I said, but it is amazing with how this nurse raises this wonderful daughter, and the book comes to a good end.
Does the nurse continue working for that doctor or does she separate her life
I'm
from him?
trying to, this was another 2006 book.
Okay.
So that must have
Wow.
been a good year for books. And so I'm trying to remember the details. She stays in touch with him. So I feel like she didn't stay working for him, but stayed in touch with him.
And does he know what she's done or does she keep it a secret? Or can you not tell us?
That one I'm going to leave.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yes, that one I think there's just so much to this book, and boy, just what all of the characters go through
Was
in
this
here.
one a 10?
Yes, it was. Yeah, I looked for a couple of 10s because just haven't had as much reading time lately, and I have to come up with a couple of good ones to share, though. This one truly is. I had to look back to see if I had already shared this one at some point. Yeah, really, really good book. They actually made a movie of it. They stayed pretty close to it,
Oh.
I want to say. Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of it before.
Yep.
Well, I should read the screen, the text, the cover on the text. Nope, the text on the cover has a statement by Jodi Picoult, and she's an author that I really enjoy. I've read a lot of her books. So she said, in describing The Memory Keeper's Daughter, Kim Edwards has created a tale of regret and redemption, of honest emotion, of characters haunted by their past. Simply a beautiful book.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really good.
Okay, sounds amazing. As a matter of fact, I was able to download this one,
Okay.
so I'm going to start listening to it
Yeah.
today. Okay, we've got one more. And this one, I have to say, Therese, I could not find this book or the author in Libby.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I think though is this her first? I think it might be. I I think it just might be, because she even had something, I think, at the back of the book saying, if you liked it, please get in touch with me, that kind of thing. And,
Oh,
that
okay.
kind of thing. Let me know, and comments and all that kind of thing was kind
Oh,
of at the end of
nice.
the book. So,
Super approachable.
yeah.
Okay, so it's The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. From
Hmm.
behind closed doors, she sees everything.
Yep.
Tell us more.
A woman in great need of a job finds this advertised to be a nanny and a maid. And so she applies, she meets up with the wife, and um, she seems really impressed by her, and we're going to work great together. And, you know, so as she's leaving, she has this really good feeling, except she thought, well, she never did a background check on me, or she wouldn't be hiring me. So then um, she does end up getting the job, and it's a well-to-do couple, and uh, the woman seemed very nice, and her husband, as the woman is mentioning in the narration, is handsome and young. They're a young couple, and with a little girl. And then the wife completely kind of flips, and she has really a lot of problems with her. And they said, you'll be a live-in maid, but the place they showed her where she would live is an attic room that locks from the outside. And the little girl, I don't know if you remember, like Children of the Corn, when if you think of these children with this white blonde hair and blue eyes, they all looked the same and all dressed the same. And that's how I pictured the daughter. And anyway, it ends up to be a very, very different household than she expected. But also, she feels they do not know about her past. And so we don't know about her past for a while either. So this was the same thing with the other one, where it really started out and then it seemed it slowed down a little bit, but I think that was more just to let things kind of settle in and be a little repetitive purposely. So it's a stick with it kind of book.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So, moral of the story, don't skip the background check. And then does it end up, so is this like a mystery? Is it suspense? Like, where does this go?
There's some mystery there in a couple ways, actually. So
Okay.
yeah,
And it's told from the perspective of the housemaid?
of the maid.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wow. Interesting.
Yep.
And so is
Yep.
this a newer release?
It is. It is a new release.
Okay.
And I want to say there were parts that I found like predictable in a way as to what was probably going to happen there. But also there are good surprises. So don't just take it as, up to a certain part and give up on it. It's it's one
So
of those keep going with it
where did
books.
this one land on the Therese scale?
Oh, I think I gave it probably a 7 or 8, which is still a very decent number. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you think of a book that you gave a low number to?
Oh, there were enough along the way, I guess.
Okay.
But not that I could think of just offhand at the moment. Yeah.
But so that's good to know that you are
Yeah.
discerning. You don't just love everything that you read.
No, unfortunately. But,
Yeah.
have to try different things always. There's always new stuff.
Always try new
And
things.
hopefully
Always be
always
reading.
better than not.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard when you read a really good book to start the next one because you don't want to be disappointed.
Yeah, or you want to keep on with that same kind of book. Yeah.
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 Or sometimes the
But,
story just keeps playing around in your
yep.
head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Therese, thank you so much for joining us
Oh,
today and bringing us these
thank you for
great
having me.
recommendations. Really enjoy it. I'm just going to put up a quick shot that shows all 5 of the books we talked about. We talked about The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. We talked about Jack Reacher, The Hard Way by Lee Child. The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards. A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. And The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth.
And
Yeah.
I have to mention something. Our big book sale will be coming up in July. So be watching for that. It starts July 13th. And one other thing that we're trying to mention, because we have so much stuff waiting to sell, we have stopped taking donations for now. And so we put that out on our website and little blurb that will be in Sea Hafer to let people know about it. But yeah, just to let everybody know as much as we can. We appreciate donations, but they're on hold for now.
Wow. So
Yep.
that means it's going to be a pretty good book sale?
Oh, I think so.
Excellent.
Yep.
My calendar's already marked for July 13th. Awesome. Therese Horstketter, librarian with Manitowoc Public Library, has been my guest today on this episode of Coffee on the Coast, Book Banter. We're really thankful for you, Therese. Thanks so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Take care, everyone.